Please just give us one moment. Hopefully everybody's called in on the bridge line and is prepared to speak when needed. We are just working through a couple of more things and we'll get started. Good evening. It is 6:30 and on December 9th, and the meeting of the Urban Design Commission will now come to order. May we have a roll call?
Nicole Ream.
Here.
Monica Sullivan.
Here.
Jerry Winchester.
Here.
Melissa Morse.
Present.
Barbara Cash.
Here.
Edith McKee.
Here.
Art Clark. Here. And Carla Baxley is excused. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item B, minutes. May we have a motion to approve the minutes from November 18th? And you can state your motion.
Move to,
Oh, you actually, oh, we're using this today? Yeah, okay. So it looks like we have a motion from Commissioner Clark. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a second from Commissioner Winchester. I'm not sure who was first there, but no worries. Are there any objections or corrections to the minutes being approved? You may type or speak. It looks like there are no comments on the Teams, and I hear nothing else, so the minutes are approved. Moving on to special orders of business. Are there any disclosures?
Excuse me. I'm sorry, I don't have any screen. I'm not showing anywhere to type in this particular screen. So can we circle back in a minute and get me to that point, please? This is Barbara. Thank you.
This is Commissioner Cash.
Yes, this is Commissioner Cash.
Yes, so if you are on the Teams screen and you go to the top of the screen, you'll see the participant icon, and next to that is what appears to be a call out or text box icon.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, you have it?
It's different arrangement. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Are there any disclosures this evening? Doesn't appear that there are any. Oh, did he need something? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. May we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Commissioner Cash moves to approve.
Commissioner Cash moves to approve, and Monica Sullivan, Commissioner Sullivan seconds. Would anyone like to pull the item from the consent agenda, or are there any discussions or corrections? Seeing and hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. Okay, moving on down the agenda here. It looks like we're down to public hearings. We have case 2020-0144. But prior to starting this, I must read the process. My apologies. So this is a public hearing, so I need to read the process by which the public may testify. My apologies. Bear with me here. Okay, the procedure by which the public may speak to the Urban Design Commission is: 1, after the staff presentation is completed on public hearing items, the chair will ask for public testimony on the issue. 2, persons who wish to testify will follow the time limits established in the Urban Design Commission Rules of Procedure as follows. Petitioners,
Kristen, or I'm sorry, Nicole, Chair, to interrupt. There are several people online who can't hear, and there's a huge lag in the typed comments.
okay, so Commissioner McKee, I see you've typed you can barely hear.
Yeah, I can't hear, and several people have typed that they don't have audio. And then there's a huge lag in the like if I just put my phone on speaker, like I can't hear at all. So I have to like do something else or use some other audio form. And then there's a huge lag in the typed comments. Like when Commissioner Cash spoke, like I can hear her, but I can't, like I can barely hear anybody else. And Martin has no audio. Somebody
Okay,
else
so
said that they have no audio.
Mr. Deek, have you called in on the bridge line, which is 3436067? We will just wait one moment here.
Yeah, just because, I mean, you're reading instructions, and I don't think that the people that are here to present their can hear.
Hello.
Hi, this is Maeve.
Please mute yourself
Let me
on
just turn my
the,
computer off then. Hang on.
please mute yourself on Teams or any other device that you may have. Just
Okay, I got muted on the computer, and I'm on the phone, and I have audio or video on the computer.
excellent.
And this is Tomasz.
Thank you. I see you, and thank you. Okay, sounds like we just had someone else join us online.
Yes, this is Una Martin.
Okay. Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I understand this is a really trying process. I will try to speak up as much as possible through this mask. I appreciate your patience while we move forward here. I'm going to start over. So we are just now starting the public hearings part of this meeting, and I am going to start reading the procedure by which the public may speak to the Urban Design Commission. If you have troubles hearing me, please type in the chat bar and we will watch for that. Please do mute your phones until it's your turn to speak. That way we don't get any interference on the line. Thank you. Okay, so the procedure by which the public may speak to the Urban Design Commission at its meetings is after the staff presentation is completed on public hearing items, the chair will ask for public testimony on the issue. Persons who wish to testify will follow the time limits established in the Urban Design Commission Rules of Procedure as follows. Petitioners, including his or her representatives, are given 10 minutes. The rebuttal by the petitioner may be allowed if they reserve time. Representatives of groups such as community councils, PTAs, etc., are given 5 minutes. Individuals, 3 minutes. When your testimony is complete, you may be asked questions by the commission. You may only testify once on any issue unless questioned by the commission. An individual may have appeal rights relating to any action the Urban Design Commission takes, except commission recommendations to the assembly, which are not appealable. Appeals must be filed with the clerk's office within 20 days after approval by the Urban Design Commission of the resolution, which is the commission's final decision. A fee for the appeal is required at the time of filing. If you've just joined us on Teams, please mute. Okay. Okay, the first case before us this evening is 2020-0144. The petitioner is the Municipality of Anchorage, Parks and Recreation, with a request for an amendment to a previously approved major site plan for Elderberry Park. May we have the staff's presentation?
Thank you. The Parks and Recreation Department is requesting approval of an amendment to a previously approved major site plan. The original major site plan review for Elderberry Park was approved through Urban Design Commission Case 2020-0076 on June 10th, 2020. The Parks and Recreation Commission on May 14th, 2020 also passed Resolution 2020-04 in support of the originally proposed improvements to Elderberry Park. And they then passed another resolution on October 8th, 2020 in support of the amendment proposed in this case. Figure 1 in the staff report shows a preferred concept for Elderberry Park that was approved as part of the Elderberry Park Master Plan. Figure 2 in the staff report illustrates the proposed improvements, both phases 1 and 2, that were approved through case 2020-0076. Finally, figure 3 shows the amended site plan that is the subject of this case and shows the proposed changes. The primary amendments to the site plan are the realignment of the pathway to the Tony Knowles Coastal Trail to match the existing pathway, the addition of traditional swing sets, and the relocation of several playground amenities. This site plan amendment does not result in any significant discrepancies between the proposed site plan and the Elderberry Park Master Plan that were not present in the previous case. While the trail realignment does not match the M Street access shown in Elderberry Park Master Plan and as proposed in the previous site plan, the change was informed by public input and the desire to maintain physical separation between the pathway and the playground facilities. For public comments, on October 21st, 2020, a total of 438 public hearing notices were mailed for this meeting. No comments for this public hearing have been received from either the Community Council or the general public. However, Parks and Recreation Commission held a community meeting at the South Addition Community Council. Comments and a resolution of approval from the South Addition Community Council are incorporated in this report. The resolution asks the Urban Design Commission to ensure the following occurs in the site plan: that access across the park to the coastal trail from N Street and 5th Avenue is added to the plan, improved as needed to be consistent with the plan, and maintained. Move the playground equipment to better ensure that bicyclists entering the trail are not a hazard to children using the playground equipment. Move if necessary, but maintain a regular swing set in the park. The full resolution from the South Addition Community Council, again, is included in attachment number 2, and as proposed, the amendment to the site plan appears to have addressed the South Addition Community Council's requests, as stated above. And considering the approval criteria for major site plan review, this amendment has not significantly impacted any of the approval criteria that were part of the original approval. So staff recommends, the department recommends approval of the amendment subject to the condition on page 10. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff?
Yes. Do we have any staff recommendations?
Do you need to, can you repeat that? I'm sorry, Commissioner Sullivan.
Do we have the staff recommendations? I couldn't see the staff report in the portal.
Are you looking for the staff recommendations on page 10?
Okay, so it's a staff report in the portal. I couldn't get it from the system.
Does that answer your question, though?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions of staff? Seeing none, I'm assuming the petitioner is online. If the petitioner or the petitioner's representative would please state your name and spell it for the record.
Through the chair, Madam Chair, this is
Maeve Nevins Louter. To spell my first name, Maeve, M-A-E-V-E, and then Nevins, N-E-V-I-N-S, Lavtar, L-A-V-T-A-R, and I am the Senior Park Planner for the Parks and Rec Department.
Thank you. Would you like to reserve any of your 10 minutes in the presentation for a rebuttal?
Yes,
How many?
8 minutes.
You would like to reserve 8 minutes for rebuttal or 8 minutes for presentation?
Oh, I only need 2 minutes for a presentation.
Okay,
Sorry, I misunderstood.
that's fine. 2 minutes, okay, you may proceed.
Wonderful. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to the staff, the commissioners, and to the community of Anchorage for this opportunity to re-present and re-review the Elderberry Park Plan. As you've heard, we are requesting an amendment to the original submittal. And the biggest reason that we do a public process is so that we can hear and learn from the community what their priorities are for a development. And it was through this process and through the last Urban Design Commission hearing that we did hear a strong public voice in response to the trail connection from the Fifth Avenue parking lot access to the coastal trail. And in being responsive to this process and in an effort to balance the priorities of the community with the priorities of the master plan, we have revisited the design and we've taken action steps to readdress the circulation from a non-motorized transportation connection by realigning the trail so that it is on the west side of the proposed plaza, and it directly connects to the coastal trail at a lower grade than the proposed plaza. So there would be a buffer between the plaza that would house the playground and other trail connections from M Street and this new trail. Additionally, through the public process, we returned to the South Addition Community Council in September, and we heard the nostalgic love for the traditional swing set that currently exists at the park. And this existing swing set, unfortunately, is not safe anymore. So we determined that we would need to replace it with a new swing set, and we have gone ahead and included a traditional swing set. So this amended plan includes a revised coastal trail connection from the parking lot and also the traditional swing set. We've only altered the location of the previous site plan in a minor way just to make everything fit and allow for vegetation buffers. We have received a resolution of support from the South Addition Community Council as well as the Park and Rec Commission. And we've found additional funding through our internal budget to accommodate these changes.
Okay,
And so with that...
Okay, good.
Sorry?
I'm sorry, I wanted to
with
interrupt
that-
and make sure that I understood you correctly because you've already bypassed the 2 minutes. We're into 7 minutes now, so I just wanted to make sure that I heard you correctly. But it sounds like you were ready to wrap up, so I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm sorry. Yes. And with that, I respectfully request your support of the proposed plan as amended.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Sorry, my misunderstanding.
Are there questions for Maeve by the commissioner? Any commissioner? I don't see that there are any questions. We will now open the hearing to public testimony. Is there anyone wishing to testify? And if there is, then, oh, we're calling them first. Got it.
Mead Treadwell.
Hi, Mead. This is the Urban Design Commission calling for your public testimony on case 2020-0144.
Okay, great.
Are you calling as an individual or a representative of an organization?
An individual.
Okay, you'll have 3 minutes to provide your testimony. If you could state your name for the record, you can begin.
Thank you. Hello?
Please state your name and spell it for the record.
Yeah, Chairman Ween, my name is Mead Treadwell, Meadtreadwell. I reside at 528 N Street near Elderberry Park. I want to thank you today for the opportunity to testify. I want to support and thank the Parks Department for listening to us at the Community Council meeting and for going forward with the revised plan that retains the route across the park from N Street to the Coastal Trail and retains the swing set. This has been a very difficult thing with COVID. I know it wasn't your intention to prevent us from testifying previously, but the municipality requirements on signing up ahead of time made it difficult for a number of us who hadn't heard the presentation. And I apologize if I went beyond the ex parte rules before reaching out to commissioners who need to hear from the public before they make decisions. At any rate, what's very important here now is that the new change does retain what our family has used in the park with the swing set for a long time. I use this park about 6 times a day. I'll be walking through it shortly. And that path from the Coastal Trail is very important because almost everybody who lives north of Westchester, probably to the park strip, accesses the Coastal Trail kind of coming down through N Street. And many of the big walks and others that use the Coastal Trail, Walk for Hope and things like that, use that to get back up to the park strip. And I want to thank you, if you can, support that change and keeping the swing set. And I look forward to meeting all of you in person again someday, soon.
Thank you. We all do. Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Mr. Treadwell? Doesn't appear there are. Do we have anyone else wishing to testify?
Thank you, Mr. Treadwell.
Thank you.
That concludes public testimony.
Thank you. Okay, if there is no one else, then would the petitioner like to, would you like to say anything else? You do have 7 minutes and 40 seconds.
No, thank you. I think we're all set.
Okay, thank you. If there are no more questions of staff or the petitioner, we will close the public hearing and move to a motion. I am not seeing nor hearing. So may we have a motion? And you can state that you want to make a motion, and then you can type motion. Okay, so we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Winchester and a second from Commissioner Sullivan. Commissioner Winchester, would you please state your motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move to approve major site plan amendment to the L Street Slide replat 35 South Addition, Elderberry Park, with staff recommendations 1. Is that it?
Thank you, Commissioner Winchester.
Did I give the case number 2020-0144? I'm sorry.
You did.
Okay.
Okay. And we do have a second from Commissioner Sullivan here, so I believe, Commissioner Winchester, you can go ahead and speak to your motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to thank specifically the Parks and Rec Department for the considerable additional work and time they spent to reconsider this plan and bring forward what I believe is a plan that really truly does acknowledge all of the constituents and the park users, and does a nice job of separation, and the inclusion of the swing set, of course, is an added bonus at this point, but really welcome, I think, to the community. Again, thank you very much for that consideration that was given to this project, which is a major park at a major trailhead, probably, in my mind, the major trailhead for the Coastal Trail, and I think it will certainly serve the community and into the future in a much better way. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sullivan, would you care to speak to your second?
Yes, a great project. I would just like to add to the findings that it improves the circulation in the park, improves the visibility and historic context with the Oscar Anderson House. It encourages positive uses. There's uses for all kind of ages, improve of wayfinding. I think it's improving ADA. Also maintains existing parking. We're not losing any parking. And they have a great engagement with the community. So I love the project, and I'm very excited to see this project to move forward.
Thank you. Is there any other commissioner who wishes to speak or add findings? Seeing and hearing none, the motion on the floor is to approve amendment to previously approved major site plan for Elderberry Park, case 2020-0144. May we have a vote?
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Ms. Cash?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Mr. Winchester?
Yes.
Ms. Morse?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
Chair Ream?
Yes.
Thank you.
And with that, the motion passes. Thank you very much to Maeve, and I think Steve Refuse was here also for that. Thank you very much tonight. Moving on to our second public hearing this evening. Okay. We'll wait for people to exit. Just 1 second. I think we're good. Okay. So moving on to case 2020-0142, petitioner Muldoon Community Improvement is before us with a major site plan review for a child care facility and drive-through coffee shop. May we have staff's presentation?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is an amendment to a major site plan review to comply with AO 2001-24S. And the petitioner is requesting an amendment to add 2 buildings on 1 tract. The approved site plan placed only 1 building, and the proposal now is for a 2,000 square foot coffee shop with a drive-up window. And the second building will be a potential 11,500 square foot, 1-story child care center. The property is located at the southwest corner of DeBar Road and Muldoon Road. The site is zoned B3SL with the ordinance AO 2001-24S, and public sewer and water are available at the site. And for wetlands, the property is listed as uplands, wetlands with Chester Creek to the south that has a 100-foot wide protective barrier. The property was platted in 2006-169, and in regards to the review process for tonight, with AO 2001-24S, that requires a public hearing site plan review and the location of fast food drive-through style restaurants along Muldoon or DeBar, they must be approved by the Assembly. So AMC 2103 180D2 states, for non-residential development with a gross floor area of 1,000 square feet and for residential development of 140 units or more, Plan and Zoning shall be the decision-making body, and for all other major site plan reviews, Urban Design Commission shall be the decision-making body. So this is not residential, and it falls under that threshold at only 13,500 square feet. So the Urban Design Commission is the decision-making authority. After tonight, review of the site plan, a resolution and memorandum will be presented to the Assembly for their approval in accordance with the special limitations of the zoning that require the location of fast food drive-through style restaurants be approved by the Assembly. So their ordinance, it placed some special limitations on development of the property. I'll read through those conditions. For uses, it is B3, what this would fall under, and that complies. The 100-foot creek corridor for Chester Creek buffer is established. The restoration was completed in April of 2014. Number 2, the site plan, buildings and entries to the greatest extent possible should be oriented to the street and accommodate pedestrian movement. That complies with the street orientation as the proposed coffee shop. It does have a relation to the street and pedestrian connections from DeBar Road and adjoining commercial retail to the west, as well as out to the Chester Creek Restoration Area Trail. The proposed drive-through presents cars along the building, but the providing a landscape buffer should be adequate for separation. The proposed child care facility has pedestrian connections from all the adjacent tracks through the project to both Muldoon and DeBar and out to the south to the residential areas. The facility play yards face the Chester Creek Restoration Area and existing trail, which is an excellent connection for the daycare. With regards to the pedestrian movement, the building elevations for the coffee shop show a pedestrian entry from DeBar sidewalk. The main doors face south and open to seasonal seating plaza. The child care facility shows connections to all the roads, the existing development to the west, and the bus stop. So pedestrian access is adequately accommodated. And like as I mentioned, the transit access is right there on Muldoon, and there's a direct bus stop trail link to it, sidewalk basically. The site plan shall be designed to allow for shared parking between uses. This complies to Title 21 parking requirements. So with the coffee shop, with the drive-through at that square footage, we're going to require 20 spaces. And the child care facility with the drop-off loading zone, that's going to require 28 and 14. So the total code requirement is 63. Now the site plan indicates 64 is being provided. However, only one ADA space is required. They're showing 2. So in order to meet the parking to comply with the 14, they just need to modify that. They'll take away the 1 and then they'll have 14 and still have the 1 ADA required number of spaces. And it also shares parking areas, so the parking for that site is good. The vehicle access shall be interior road, so there was some comments in there. There's no direct access to DeBar or Muldoon Road. That is from the actual lot, so all these kind of share driveway access, so it does comply. There's a 24-foot common access driveway. There's 3 of them in the project that go out to DeBar, so it does comply with that. The creek corridor shall be integrated as a distinct focal point. That's already been set up when they redesigned the whole thing, and the site plan does show pedestrian access to the circular plaza, the trails, trail connection out to public transit, and interior public open spaces. So it does comply. Local climate shall be taken into account. The proposed building design does include canopies and awnings around the entrances, and the building entries are oriented to the south and west, which enhances the advantage of sunlight. The design of the site shall provide a positive relationship between Muldoon roads and DeBar roads. So one of the buildings is located closer to DeBar. The child care facility presents its main play area and windows to the Chester Creek area, which is a strong interface. In addition, the parking and loading areas are in between the 2 buildings, and that minimizes the presentation of a parking lot to DeBar and Muldoon roads, so it complies. One thing is the site plan didn't show a trash enclosure, so staff has made it a conditional approval to show a trash enclosure screening detail. The architecture site plan shall address building mass, siding, entrances, windows, exterior finishes, and roof lines. So this complies. The buildings are flat roofed, one story. The masses match those on adjacent tracks. The types of building materials used that are indicated on the plans are similar to the other buildings in the whole project area. The main entrance points are centrally located along the building facades and covered by overhead awnings. So in terms of mass, siding entrances, windows, exterior finishes, and roof lines, they do match with the planned development and help further the intent of the town center. In regards to landscaping, site plan shall address the need for and design of perimeter landscape buffers and interior site landscaping. So the site plan, it shows an adequate area and setbacks for landscaping, plus the parking lot landscaping. And the perimeter landscaping plan shows the adequate area and width to meet that 30-foot landscape buffer per AO 2001-24. The landscaping proposed along does not meet the standard of plat note number 5, and this requires buffer landscaping meeting old code requirements along Muldoon Road. So staff has made a conditional approval to provide that required buffer landscaping. They have the room, they show it. They just have to kind of meet a few more plants there to meet that standard. The interior parking lot landscaping, it does exceed. They got 7.4% of the required interior landscaping, and you're only required to provide 5%. So also the proposed drive-through lane is designed to be at a lower elevation than the adjacent landscaping, and this is going to further create a headlight spill over on oncoming traffic, as that drive-through lane is along DeBar Road. But it's going to be at an elevation difference, and there'll be some landscaping design along there. The landscape plan, it does indicate snow stored on site, but it didn't provide calculations for the required 5%. So staff made a condition that snow storage calculations should be shown. In regards to parking lot design, shall not contain large expansive parking lots, and that complies. Signage. So the submittal states that the monument and wall signs will be used that comply with the ordinance and the design guidelines, because there's some design guidelines for signs on this planned unit development. The plan sheet does show approximate sign locations. However, the building and site signage is going to need to comply with the signage standards and current code when they come in for a building permit. Accommodations for pedestrians, including bicycles, shall be provided. This does comply. Sidewalks and crosswalks, they're integrated into the site plan. Access to all the roads, the existing trail along Chester Creek, out to the transit stop, which is indicated. And also there's a couple existing outdoor gathering spaces that's going to complement the proposed seating plaza. So back to 30-foot landscape buffer along Muldoon and DeBar roads. That does meet that. They do have that amount of width in there. And there's along Muldoon, there's the pretty wide trail. It's a 14-foot wide trail, which was part of the requirement as well. And that was all built during when they kind of redid that area. We're meeting tonight for the public hearing site plan review. They will go on to as I mentioned, to the assembly for the drive-through, and the proposal complies with the policies found in the 2020-2040 Anchorage Bowl Comprehensive Plan. There's a few development and design guidelines that the site plan criteria has to meet. As I mentioned before, pedestrian amenities such as benches and bike racks. While sidewalks and pedestrian pathways are shown on the plan, no bike racks were shown or lighting, so staff has made a conditional approval that they place the required 4 bicycle parking spaces somewhere on the site plan there. So trail connections are shown for pedestrian circulation to the appropriate connections and out to the Muldoon Road bus stop. Some of this is repetitive as far as they kind of blend together, so that's why they're both conditions of the AO and the kind of design guidelines, but they do meet all that. With facades, visible foundations, the wall cladding and moldings, and the colors, design of the structures, the proposed buildings, they do match. They do match the context. It's supposed to introduce brightness and bring vivid primary colors to offset low winter light levels, and they are compatible with the other buildings that are out there in the Creekside area. And finally, once again, the signage isn't indicated other than some conceptual signs, but at the time of the building permit, they'll need to comply with municipal code and the ordinance as far as the design guidelines. So with that, staff recommends approval of the conditions found on page 15 and 16 of the staff packet. And I can answer any questions, and the petitioner's representative is very knowledgeable as well. He may have a few things, but he's kind of been involved with this from the very beginning, so he has a deep history of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Odell? Seeing and hearing none.
I had a question.
Yes, Commissioner Winchester.
Sorry. Yes, just a question for staff. I'm assuming that you have gone over all of the conditions of approval with the applicant, and have those all been worked out and basically approved by them, as far as you know?
That is correct, yes. We
Okay.
did. Most of them are just kind of housekeeping items, such as the trash screen
Sure.
and things like that. The parking is, as far as the required parking, that won't be an issue. They have the space, they have the numbers. They'll just need to switch one of those ADA ones out, and they'll meet it.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. Okay. No, just curious. Sometimes these conditions show up, and the petitioner, the first time they've seen it is the night of the hearing. And I don't mean to, just sometimes it's not been worked through. So that's just good information for us to start with. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Winchester. Are there any other questions for staff? Seeing and hearing none. Will the petitioner or the petitioner's representative please state your name and spell it for the record? And then let me know if you want any time of your 10 minutes reserved for rebuttal.
Yes, good evening. My name is Tamas Dayak, Tamas Deak. I'm the petitioner's, the applicant's representative on this project, and I'm already mixing it up. But I'm basically working on this so long that I probably have too much knowledge about this project. But for tonight, I would like to reserve 2 minutes at the end of the presentation and focus on the actual specifics. And I would like to entertain your questions as well, so we can work out all the details at this level and move to the next phase, which is the assembly. First of all, thank you. Sean Odell has been working with me on this particular project, and he's correct. I've been working on many of these in this area through the past 19 years. This project is an amendment to an existing approved site plan, which has resulted of the construction of we always call it the Donut Palace, but Krispy Kreme, a BurgerFi, and a Body Renew building is on Tract 6. The interesting part about Tract 7, which is the current parcel, is that usually we do development with infrastructure not being in place. In this case, it is exactly the opposite. And the previous approvals of this project, we have received the conditions from planning and zoning, and many of those requirements basically all of those requirements which were at that time placed on this parcel have been constructed. That includes the creek restoration project, which you see there today, includes all the trail system, includes the pedestrian bridge, the plaza, the access to Muldoon and the Bar roads, the traffic stop along Muldoon, all the work which DOT did to improve that. So we are in a condition where we're basically doing the infill for finishing this project, and we're really looking forward to make this development a reality. With that, I would like to point out a couple of things. And again, thank you, Sean, for working with on this project. And we did receive the comments from the agencies. We have not had a very good chance to look at the staff report as it was published in the past few days. And we are in a general concurrence of the conditions. So I don't see a real big problem with any of those, but I would like to look at a couple of them in particular. The first one of those is 3B on page 15, which is a traffic comment which requires to provide site traffic control signage, which is no problem. We were talking about that with them, as well as screening for the drive-through. That particular aspect is where I would like to request you to strike that from the condition, for the simple reason, as Sean pointed it out, we already have a design which lowers the grade of the drive lane. And I would rather have the decision made at this level than work with the staff at traffic to define what screening really means. We have a 3-foot high retaining wall due to grades, which is going to then be adjacent to a landscape area, which then provides a further screening. That's an intentional design element which will allow the screening of the headlights. And my request is, with your approval, if you could strike the screening aspect of this condition. Moving on, the next one is the issue of the buffer landscaping. As I did mention, this project is an amendment of an existing plan, which does have basically the same design along the Bar and Muldoon shown on this plan as it was intended at that time. And Sean is correct about the intent of the buffer landscape easement is perhaps a little bit in conflict with what has been developed through the years to meet other requirements and criteria. In this case, the first statement is that the Bar Road does not have a buffer landscape easement. It was the original intent of the ordinance, but it's not on the plat. It was stricken for the simple reason that commercial property should not be screened with buffer landscaping. It remained along Muldoon, and we have developed basically the whole Muldoon frontage with landscaping, which is in compliance with and in context with the developments which are adjacent, but not always in compliance with the letter of the law, which requires the landscaping for the standards for buffer landscaping. In this case, the concern is that the traffic stop, and if you look at the plan, which is on page 26 and 27, I hope you had the larger drawings as well. But if you look at the plan, the landscaping is behind the traffic stop and in those areas which are protected from snow plows. DOT does plow into that area where we left the space open, and if we basically install anything there, it's going to be destroyed. We don't have any control over how they manage that, and as it is an easement and a public interface, we would rather plant based on the plan as it has been originally approved and as it is moving forward to support this project as shown on your plans. So I would request that you take a consideration of that condition. It is condition 4B1, and amend it or strike it from this list, because based on the plans, I think you have the authority and the information for approving a plan which is going to be the basis of moving forward. As the conditions state, the requirements are there, and in condition 2, it lists all the drawings which are part of the approval processes as we go for building permits. So So there is an approval process for that. So there's no surprises coming with this project after you approve it. With that, I would again like to thank planning, especially Sean, because this is always a little bit cumbersome, and during COVID, it's even more cumbersome. We have gone to the Northeast Community Council several times. They provided an approval in support of the project at the Community Council meeting. We have been coordinating with the municipality, and we would like to move to this next phase where the corner of this development is also starting to get developed, and move on to construction in 2021. With that, I don't know if I made my 7 or 8 minutes, but I would love to hear your questions about the project. Thank you.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes remaining. Are there questions for Mr. Diak? Oh, looks like Commissioner
I have a
Sullivan.
question.
Oh, sorry. Let's go with Commissioner Sullivan and then Commissioner Winchester.
Thank you.
Hi, through the chair. I just have a question. It seems like you're going to further develop the snow storage in the site. Seems like the little corner, it's probably not going to be enough. But I have just a little concern. The connection of the pedestrian going to the plaza seems that it's between the snow storage and where you're going to push all the storage through the curb. So I just want to point out that maybe sometimes the snow storage is going to block the pedestrian.
Well, we have, as Sean pointed it out, we are in the design that we are looking at areas where snow storage can be accommodated. And obviously the concern is shared. We do not want to have any pedestrian access blocked to any of the surrounding properties, especially since we are building them, and it would be a fairly bad investment if we can't use it. So what we're going to do the next step is do the calculations for snow storage areas for each of these 2 projects, and then based on that, we either meet the requirements of the calculations being adequate, or we're going to get in go into an agreement with the municipality about snow removal. That's still an open question, but I think I don't necessarily share the concern that we cannot do it because we are concerned about the pedestrian access as well as you are.
Thank you.
Before we go to Commissioner Winchester, I would just like to put on the record that Commissioner Morse has left the meeting during the petitioner's testimony. Thank you. And Commissioner Winchester?
Madam Chair, does that mean that we still have a quorum?
We do still have a quorum. I'm sorry, I should clarify. We do have a quorum of 6 this evening without Commissioner Morse.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner.
So this is Commissioner Winchester. Is it ready for me?
We hear you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Yes.
Okay. So I had two questions, and this is just more clarification in my own mind. Department Recommendations 3B, which indicates site traffic control signage for the exit lane and screening for the drive-through. And you are requesting that screening for the drive-through be stricken. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, the reason for that because it's redundant. We already have the design to go into this direction, and maybe I'm just doing it for too long. But I would rather have you to do the review and make the conditions than me going into the traffic department and try to find a definition what screening means. I think
Understood.
it's clear. Thank you.
No, I understand completely. I'm just trying to clarify, and I do understand because of the already existing screening situation that you've already developed and is part of the overall project. So it just does, like you said, it's redundant, and I agree. I just want to make sure those are basically the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words you want stricken from the requirement. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
And
With the note, excuse me, I just wanted to say that I think if you just look at the condition, really would read side traffic control signage for the exit lane of the drive-through, because that's what they're asking for, and we have no problem with that.
Okay. I just want to get it clear. Let's get it the way you want it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then, okay, we got refuge screening, and we covered, okay, and the other one was, and as I understood, the second item was B1, 30-foot buffer landscape easements along DeBar Muldoon Road in accordance with AO 20-00124 and meet buffer landscaping requirements AMC. Now, were you saying that particular requirement is also redundant? I was trying to get clear on that.
No, what I was saying is that the Bar Road doesn't have a platted buffer landscape easement. So so that from that regard, it's not applicable. As far as Muldoon frontage goes, this project is a follow-up, basically an amendment of an existing approved project, which had a plan which took into consideration that we would develop a trail connection, a traffic stop, and a stream restoration. At that time, it was prior to all of those construction elements. And in addition to that, with the current maintenance regime of the DOT along that section, we could install buffer landscaping, but in the sections where we don't show it, it would simply get destroyed. That's why we didn't put it on the plan. And I would like your consideration to strike that from this requirement. And probably the easiest way to do it is strike the condition and let the plan show the landscaping as is, which then would be constructed accordingly.
So you would like to take paragraph B1, which says 30-foot buffer landscaping easements. You want to strike that entire thing and just say landscaping per plan?
Yes, that would be acceptable to us. That would be at least consistent with what we hope to develop. Yes.
Right. Well, I mean, I think you folks have done a remarkable job with a really, what I consider a very unique and tough part of Anchorage that is being developed over a very long period of time. And I think, this is where you get sort of crossed up sometimes with a plan that's 10 years old and you're now trying to, implement, and there's some things that are now redundant. And in this case, 30-foot buffer landscaping along DeBar and Muldoon aren't going to make sense with trails and snow and everything else that we're dealing with there. I think we should leave it to develop the best landscaping you can along there according to the conditions of the original plan. So, and I may say that, landscaping per original plan, if that's okay.
Yeah, if you mean the original plan which we have submitted, which is basically following the plan of 2014, the reference to the current plan basically says the same thing. So that would make it probably simpler. But either way, the concern is that if we go with the current standards of buffer landscaping, which actually have changed since 2014, then we're going to have a conflict which we can't resolve.
Exactly. I got it. No, I'm with you.
Thank you.
Okay. So those are the two, and I'm just clarifying further, those are really the only two issues within the department recommendations that you have a problem. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Winchester. Commissioner Clark?
Thank you, Chair. I guess I have a kind of a question of process more than anything else, in that I understand, after having Commissioner Winchester clarify these things with you, but you and the department, Commissioner Winchester also asked the department's representative. What? Oh, okay, sorry. That you had gone over this with the department. I would have hoped that these couple of things would have been kind of ironed out at that stage, with them participating in the discussion as well. And was this addressed when you were discussing these with them?
Mr. Clark, thank you for the question. Actually, I think Sean is referencing that that this project has started out as an approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission because the original ordinance requires that submittal. In the making of this approval, due to the change of code, the decision at the planning level was made that it should go to UDC. We did not necessarily think that that was appropriate based on the actual language written in the code, but we would accept that certainly it really is the same site plan approval. So we did discuss a lot of things. This particular issue about the buffer landscaping was not one of them. It was a standard, comment, and I understand that part, but we did not have the chance to really look at that and work it out. And I also want to make sure that I don't state very strongly that Sean has been doing a tremendously good job on this. And this is one of those conditions which come from code references. But looking at the development history and looking at the other projects as they have been developed, it produces conflicts which are not easily resolved. And in the past, they have been resolved at the site plan review level, which is what we're seeking to do here with the approval of the plan we have submitted.
Okay, so basically, due to the change of venue is why this kind of fell through the cracks?
I believe it's probably partially due to that, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Clark, is there anyone else who has a question for petitioner? Okay, we will now open for public testimony, and is there anyone who okay, there is no one wishing to testify. So, Mr. Diak, would you like to use your last 3 minutes for anything else?
Madam Chair, yes, I would like to say once again that I really appreciative of the planning department work on this. They have seen this overall development numerous times, and I think it's a good testament for improving a place in Anchorage, which has started out as a place which reached the end of its lifespan, and now it basically was reborn with new development, lots of housing, lots of infrastructure, lots of pedestrian amenities. So we are happy to be able to move that project along. And in that vein, I would like you to support us in moving forward and approve it based on the discussions we had here and the requests I made. And with that, we would love to have your support.
Thank you. Are there any more questions for staff or the petitioner?
This is Jerry. I would have a question of staff.
Please proceed.
My question, of course, now, and you can imagine what it is that if staff has any particular problem with the modification of the two pieces that we were just talking about that would say traffic control signage for the exit lane of the drive-through and remove the screening because of the already existing screening, and then for B1 to say landscaping per original plan of 2014 modified into current plan.
Through the chair, so item 3B, was a resolve with traffic, and you guys are just basically, as Tomasz had mentioned, you're going to resolve that tonight. It's going to make it solid, yeah. And in the other matter, so I would say per the sheet L1 and L2 shown, if you're going to say landscaping shown, he's still going to have the 30 feet there is what's shown. So that's meeting the intent of the AO with the 30-foot space for landscaping. And basically with the old code, he's just going to meet basically current landscaping conditions.
Exactly.
Okay, yep.
I mean, I think these are small modifications in reality over the, and by the way, remarkable job you've done, by the way. I should say that up front in helping move this along. These are this complicated work on, these kinds of complicated reinvent the wheel, if you will, kind of projects, town centers, et cetera. So you've done a great job. I'm just thinking these two minor modifications will simplify, for the petitioner a couple of heavy issues that would, and sort of boil it down to the things that he really needs to work on, which there are some things here, that have to get resolved, and certainly move the project along. And I'm just trying to help do that with things that I think are really within the intent of the original master plan of the area. The 30-foot buffer does exist. The existing landscaping exists per the original. And then to try to complicate it now to say, oh no, let's upgrade that to all some new kind of buffer landscaping in an area that's already seen substantial improvement by this developer. So anyway, thank you. And I think that I just wanted to kind of run that by you and get your feedback. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Winchester. If there are no more questions for staff or the petitioner, then the public hearing is now closed. And may we have a motion? It looks like we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Winchester. Would you please state your motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move to approve case number 2020-142, Muldoon Community Improvement LLC, amendment to the major site plan review to comply with the approved site plan for case 2014-054, and as required by AO 2001-24S to allow construction of a coffee shop and child care center on Tract 7. Of course, this is Tract 7 of the old Alaska Village subdivision. And it is, of course, designated as a town center site. And I would like to move for approval with staff conditions 1, 2, 3A, 4, and 4A and 4B, 2 and 3. And for condition 3B, I would like to state, in lieu of staff's list, site traffic control signage for exit lane of drive-through. And scratch the word "and screening" for drive-through. And then for condition B1, would like to strike that condition in the staff recommendations and insert landscaping per original landscape plan of 2014 as modified by current sheets L1 and L2.
Thank you. Can you repeat that last one? I'm so sorry. I'm trying to write that down. So that was landscaping per original.
No problem. Landscaping per original plan of 2014 as upgraded or as currently shown on the current plans as L1 and L2.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a second? May we have a second? Okay, looks like we have a second from Commissioner Cash. Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Winchester, you've stated your approval with your modification to the department's recommendations. Would you like to speak further?
Yes, I would, Madam Chair. Thank you. In a general way, I'd like to say that, again, this is, a remarkable project in a part of town that has just continuously needed this kind of upgrade, and it's been doing great things in that area. I think this addition of a child care center and a coffee shop in this particular location is really going to work in terms of the community, in terms of traffic flow, et cetera. I think that the ordinance basically has a lot of special limitations under AO 200124S, and in general they comply with those special limitations, and all the way through the parking and the access to the creek, the orientation of the child care center to the creek, and the parking in between, the coffee shop over, of course, on the traffic side. I think the multiple use of the parking areas, from both buildings, going to work really well. I think the vehicular access is great, from DeBar, and of course it complies with all of the original Creekside Center requirements, going back, like I said, all the way to 2014. And I think the streetscape signage, the way that they've handled the landscaping, the architecture, of course, is going to be completely filled out. It's going to work really well for this area. The modifications that we made to the staff recommendations, I think, are fairly minor and really get into the sticky points of the differences between the original 2014 master plans and what current code might require, and what may complicate some of those couple of issues. I mean, they have the full 30-foot setback on DeBar and Muldoon. They have landscaping in place that meets the buffer landscaping of 2014. So it's not like we're making any huge major changes here. It's just that we're not saying, oh, gee, let's reinvent the wheel here and look at this in terms of a whole, new code or a new way of looking at it. And so I think that from the landscaping, and then I think the drive-through with the fact that they have the grade difference there and the landscaping already in place to do additional redundant screening is really, kind of just going over the top. So welcome the project, and I'm going to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cash, would you like to speak to your second?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I intend to support this site plan. I support approval of it and the development that it helps complete. It is consistent, as you heard, with all the previous approved site plans for the parcel, and it completes the business, the planned unit development with the coffee shop and child development center, which I think are much better than a singular restaurant and more attuned to the community. And the town center compliance policy 24 from the Anchorage 2020 comprehensive plan, these are all important ingredients. So because of the compliance with the ordinance and permitted uses, and with all of those Section E design guidelines, I do approve it and plan to support it. I do support it and plan to approve it. That's better said. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to speak or add findings? Hearing none, I'm going to restate the motion on the floor. So we have a motion to approve case 2020-142, Muldoon Community Improvement Amendment to a Major Site Plan Review to comply with the approved site plan for case 2014-054 and as required by AO 2001-24S to allow construction of a coffee shop and childcare facility on Tract 7, subject to department's recommendations 1 and 2, 3A and 3B as amended to state site traffic control signage for the exit lane of drive-through. Item department recommendation 4A and 4B, 2 and 3, with an amendment to 4B1 to state landscaping per original plan of 2014 as currently shown on current plans L1 and L2. May we have a vote?
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Ms. Cash?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Mr. Winchester?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
And Chair Ream?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for the work you're doing, Mr. Diak, and have a great evening.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. It looks like that was our last public hearing item. Are there any comments from the commission? Madam Secretary?
Yes, I have two comments.
Yes.
One, I did not receive a package in the mail, so I go to the website of the municipality, and I don't think the staff report for case number 1 is there. So that was my confusion. You say page number 10, but there's no staff report at all. For the second case, there's a staff report. So that was why
Okay.
I just was confused about the whole thing. And then number 2, the phone number, I think when you guys send the invitation for Teams, there's 2 phone numbers, and one is the team meeting for audio, and then the other one is the bridge line. So it's confusing to know which one is the bridge line, now I get it. One is Teams, but probably that confuses people, so maybe making it more clear of for audio, call the bridge line, then that's more clear, I think. But that's just a recommendation.
Okay, and I just want to
Seems that there was a lot of confusion.
Thank you, Commissioner Sullivan. And to go back to your first concern, are you saying that it wasn't actually available online either, or you just did not receive the packet?
I don't receive the package because I'm working from home, so I don't know if I did receive a package. So I go online, and the staff report is not in the website.
Oh.
May I speak?
So
This
that's
is Commissioner Cash.
We'll let Mr. Odell.
That was the first case heard?
Right.
Yes, the first case.
Okay, we'll have to take a look at the portal and take a look at that and see why the staff packet's not available.
If that happens again, please do notify staff immediately prior to the meeting so we can help you help us.
Yeah, I was confused. I didn't know if it was me, but then I went back and I'm checking where I went back and I checked where the staff report for the other case was, and there's nothing in the same place. So I kind of was confused. I thought I was lost myself, but no, I'm not.
Okay. And I know actually, in response to your second comment about the confusion between the bridge line and the other phone number, I noticed when I open up the calendar reminder on my mobile, sometimes I do not get the notes that are provided. But the calendar reminder, if you open it up in your email, your Outlook, your calendar online, there should be a very large, highlighted, bolded, please call the bridge line at this number. I don't know what else.
Well, it doesn't call that bridge line. It's not called bridge line. That was the problem. So I didn't know if I should dial that one for audio or the Teams.
Okay, if that's the case, we'll make sure to clarify but I do believe she's provided as much information as she can to say, please call this number when you call into Teams. But I do appreciate...
There was a lot of confusion, not just from me today. So I'm just recommending if we call it bridge line for sure, I think that will help.
Sounds good. Okay. It looks like Commissioner Cash would like to speak.
Yes, I wanted to just clarify that I was able to get the staff report for the first case, the 0142, off of the link to the muni.org muni meetings. And if you haven't used that before, I can't repeat right now word for word, tell you step by step how to get there. But the report was there, and I was able to download it. So I'm sorry you had that experience.
I think she was talking, case 1 was 0144. You were just referring...
Oh, I'm sorry, they were in the wrong, I was speaking incorrectly. That was 0144. I wasn't looking at it.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But it was there, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I can't see it, but yeah. Okay, I'll maybe send Lori a shot of my screen of what I see from my side.
And I know this is really frustrating, you guys, and I appreciate your patience while we have to do all of these things electronically. I know it's frustrating. So we'll try to muddle our way through it as we go, and hopefully we won't have to do this after a couple of months, I'm hoping. And actually, Lori did just state, you can come to the chambers, and it's a lot easier to participate live rather than through the team. So we'd love to have you if you want to join us. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak tonight? Okay. All right. Well, then I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Thank you. A move to adjourn from Commissioner Winchester.
Second.
And a second from Commissioner Clark. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned.